Welcome to the Dixie Belle YouTube channel. My name is Amy and I'm from the channel FlipItFurniture. And today we're making over this $25 thrift store find. It's a coffee table and I have been looking for a coffee table just like this for a couple years now, so I was so excited to find it. I love all the intricate details on the sides and the legs. I'm actually going to be using this for my own home, so I am extremely excited. For a list of all the products I use in this video and where to find them, be sure to check out the description box below. Now let's flip it.
My first step is to clean my piece, and I'm using Dixie Belle's White Lightning Cleaner. All you have to do is mix about 2 tablespoons in 1 gallon of water. The little granules will dissolve with warm water. I wash down the entire piece, and then when I'm done using my cleaner mixture, I just go over it with a wet rag just to make sure that there's no cleaner residue left on my piece. While I was cleaning my pieces, I noticed some gouges at the top, and this is an easy fix. I just use Dixie Belle's mud. You just apply it, fill in the gouges or any holes that you see, and then wait a couple hours for it to dry. Then I take my sanding sponge and I sand it smooth. Now my piece is cleaned, repairs are made, so I'm using Dixie Belle's Boss to prime this piece. I'm using this because it's a really dark piece and I know that I'm going to be using some really light colors, so this will just help. And if there's any stains or odors, I did get this from the thrift store, so I feel like this will just protect it and make it feel, it'll give it that nice new feeling. I'm using one of the limited edition colors. It's Suzanne's favorite colors in the color Latte. This is just my base coat, so here's where I'm figuring out exactly where I want my placement. If I'm gonna do blending, what colors am I gonna use? Do they look right together? The base coat is my practice coat, so that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm not gonna be particularly neat. I just wanna make sure that I'm covering all that Dixie Belle Boss. And now I'm gonna use Sawmill Gravy as my second color. And I've decided the flower and a lot of the details are gonna get this Sawmill Gravy as a highlight. At this point, I have 1 full coat on the entire table, including the top. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure at this point what I'm going to do with the top because I'm not loving what I did here with the practice coat. So I'm going to have to try a few different things. But for now, I'm going to focus on the bottom because I know exactly how I want it to look on the bottom. For the bottom, I've decided to stick with the color Latte and Sawmill Gravy. Latte will be mostly on the border and Sawmill Gravy will be used as a highlight, and I'll give it a nice blend. I've decided I want these legs to really stand out, so I'm not going to do any blending. I'm using sawmill gravy to cover most of what looks like little leaves going up the top and down the bottom and through that center. And then underneath, I'm using the latte. Now for this top. I've had to do about 3 different coats. This one is mostly sawmill gravy. I'm covering it, and I just did not like it. I did fluff on the outside, sawmill gravy on the inside. I didn't like it. Then I painted the entire top, that's what I'm doing here, in fluff, and I still didn't like it. So I finally settled on just bring what I did to the bottom over onto the top. So I'm using latte on the borders, around the edges, and on this square border. And then the rest is going to be sawmill gravy. And I'll do a nice blend. This table is going to be the focal point for my living room. We're going to sit around this table during the fall and the winter, have hot cocoa, watch movies. So I really wanted to use colors that made me feel like it was warm and cozy. And I think that this was a good choice. The latte is nice and warm, and the sawmill gravy is also pretty warm. And together they gave me that look that I was going for. As I'm blending the top, I'm figuring out that I want most of this to be sawmill gravy. I'm using the latte as more of a shadow underneath the sawmill gravy. I'm just adding a little bit of fluff. I'm dry brushing it along the details of this flower. I think the color fluff will help these details to pop just a little bit more. So I use a really, really light hand and I just go over it on all the raised details. At this point in the process, I'm ready to put a sealer on. I want to seal my chalk paint. So I'm using the Dixie Belle's top coat in satin. I applied 2 coats of this. I wait about 2 hours in between coats for it to dry before I apply my next coat. I'm ready for my best staying wax in the color brown, and I use the French tip brush. I like to use the French tip brush with the wax because it really gets in all the creases. I'm not worried about applying it in like really specific areas. I just cover that entire leg, and then I take my baby wipe and I wipe back. Now that wax is gonna stay in all those details, and I have a really easy time removing it because I've already sealed my piece. If I didn't seal my piece, a lot of that wax will stay. So I highly recommend sealing your piece first. And then here I wanted to show you that when I'm wiping back, I actually wiped a little bit too much of the wax off. But that's an easy fix. You can just go ahead and apply a little bit more wax and then be a little bit more careful in how you're wiping it off. Now, when I'm done waxing, I still add a sealer, one more coat of sealer to my entire piece, but I want to wait about 3 days to make sure that my wax is fully dry. And I can add the sealer because this Bestang wax is water-based, so it's totally fine if I put a sealer over it. Here's a reminder of what it looked like before, and here's what it looks like today. I'm so happy with the way it turned out. I did have a little bit of trouble deciding on the color placement for the top, but after a couple of tries, I think it turned out pretty nice and it's all very cohesive. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you next time.